All right. Should we just get right into it?
Yeah, I think so.
Welcome back to
Humans Anonymous.
We are very, very happy to be able to be here with you this morning, this evening, this afternoon, whenever you're listening to or watching this. Thank you for listening to or watching this. This is episode 2. We made it all the way to number 2. We're very excited to be here with you, talking about Landon. We're going to talk about Landon today.
Oh, yes.
My name is Landon Ballard.
I am Amaria Ballard.
And last week, we got to know Amaria a little bit, and we talked about her childhood. And so this week, we've got some other things we're going to talk about and chat about, but we obviously are going to dive into my childhood, maybe?
We're going to talk about it a
little
bit.
Amaria's got some questions that she has prepared for me, and I've got some things that I would like to discuss. And so we're just going to kind of wing this one and see how it goes. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to anybody who gave us feedback on the last episode. We really appreciate all of the kind words and everything that anybody has said about everything that I mean, we've just worked very hard to kind of get this started, and so it was very encouraging to hear all the positive words from you guys.
The planning for this podcast has actually been in motion for about a year at this point.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's been a little bit of my brainchild, I would say. And just it's exciting. It's exciting to be able to do this, and it's really exciting to be able to hear from you guys that at least one or two of you thought that what we're doing is pretty cool. So huge thanks to you guys, because, I mean, ultimately that's why we do it, is for, not for us, but for other people. I know that we kind of talked about this a lot in our first episode, but the point is just to help people and to put something out good into the world. And so we're enjoying just having the opportunity to do that.
Definitely. Most definitely.
So I wanted to talk right off the bat real quick.
About what?
About change.
Okay. We can do that.
Because I'm going through some change right now.
Yes.
And
yes, you are.
I've been just anxious and nervous about it. I'm getting a new job, and I really like the job where I'm at right now. I really like my boss, and so it's kind of been difficult trying to decide how to go about making that transition, if that makes sense. And I just have never liked change to begin with, like most people.
Like, I understand that. I get that. I'm not big on change. I mean, I haven't even changed my food palette in the last 10 years, maybe.
I'm helping you get
You're
there.
getting me there.
Yeah.
But I mean,
we'll work on pork next.
But like, I understand that you like your old job.
Yes.
Trust me, I get it. But you have to like think about the positive side about the new job. It's gonna take us different places.
Definitely.
There's gonna be a big change for us. It's not just you. It's for us too. For me and the kids.
Yeah,
so,
and that's kind of the exciting part, is all the opportunity that comes with it.
of course.
But obviously, just dealing with the change and the idea of I'm comfortable now. I like what I'm doing right now, and even though there might be something that's better out there for me, I've always been the kind of person that likes to stay comfortable, and so even though I know I'm doing the right thing, it's a little bit scary.
Well,
and so I'm trying to just calm myself down a little bit and realize that this is going to keep happening. Change is going to keep happening, and so I need to buckle down and get used to it.
Think about it this way. When we first started dating, I wouldn't wake up until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh my goodness, you wouldn't wake up until I woke you up.
Exactly. I would not wake up until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
It just happened to be 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Because of how my work schedule was. It wasn't until Landon and me started living together that he was like, Amaria, you have to be up by like 9 a.m. at the latest to do stuff with me in the morning. Now, I mean, it's still kind of hard. I can sleep till 2 if I want to.
Oh yeah, but I mean, you're up at 7 when the kids are up at 7. Yeah.
You know, I get a little nap in there between, the day, but you have to think like how hard of a change that was for me. But I did it, and look, it turned out for the better.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, and like,
I mean, I know that's completely different from a job, but I'm just saying like.
Oh, but it's the same idea. All it is anxiety. And the way that we get past that is by doing hard things. And
or
usually
like you getting me out of the
is
house.
Making that change, or you getting out of the house, or whatever it is to make that change make sense, I guess.
Like, you literally have to like force my hand out of the house.
Sometimes.
It's ridiculous. I'm such an introvert that I'd rather not leave the house. Landon's like, it's such a nice day outside. Let's go outside. I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's just so, some people are so set in their ways sometimes, and it's very hard for them to change that up. So I get where you're coming from.
I feel like that's just a very common thing amongst all people. Change is scary.
Yes.
I know we talked about this last episode, but I want to just talk about one thing again that, is the point of this podcast. And I have a little story to tell. I told you this the other day, but it was just something that somebody at the gas station randomly told me.
Yes, I remember.
And I think I told you, I was like, this is something that I will probably never forget for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And
you did say that.
I was at the gas station behind this gentleman who seemed like he was maybe not completely there.
Yeah.
He was kind of talking very fast to the attendant behind the counter, and I could tell like he was just being annoying. He kept saying, "Can I go to the bathroom? Can I go to the bathroom?"
Yeah.
And the guy had told him like 3 times, "Yeah, you can go to the bathroom." But the guy behind the counter was just really nice with him. And like it warmed my heart because I don't see that, especially living where we live. It's a very low income area in most of the places in Rockford. And so you see a lot more mistreatment, I would say, of people in poverty. And so it was just really warm to see that. And so when I got up to the counter, I went, that was really nice. I appreciate you being so kind to that guy. And he goes, well, he lives in his car. He comes in here, a lot. And I said, well, I just don't see that very often. And I really appreciate seeing that. And he goes, and this is what he said that I think will stick with me forever. He said, one day we're all going to be held accountable for the way that we treat our fellow man. So why not just start treating them right today?
Exactly. I totally agree with that statement. I honestly do. And like you said, we do live in not the best part of our own city. It is very like heartwarming to see people actually be nice to one another, because it's not common at all. It's not common.
No, and that's the disappointing thing.
Even like where I work, they tell you like you have to be nice to your customers. You have to say hello, as soon as somebody walks in the door. Even if a customer is very rude to you, you still have to smile and say, I hope you have a good day.
Well, and we got to realize too, we've got to be conscious of other people. Sometimes that person's not being rude to you. Sometimes that person is just not aware of what's going on around them.
I see posts like all the time on social media that is like, you don't know what someone's going through today. Be nice to people.
Yeah.
I share those as much as I can.
Yeah, I actually saw a video today. It's funny that you would say, and it was of this dude was doing an interview in the mall, and somebody just walked right between them while he was talking to the guy in the camera. Like he walked between the guy and the camera. And the dude that was doing the interview was like, wow, that was rude. And the dude that he was interviewing went off on like this minute rant about 99% of the time, they're not being rude. They're just in their own bubble, in their own world. Not that that's the right thing. We need to get out of our own bubble and start paying attention to the world around us. But 99% of the time, it's just people being caught up in their own world.
See, and including myself, a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, because whatever you're going through, they're going through too.
Yeah.
Whatever you've been through, they've been through something too.
But also, it's like, your first instinct, is to be like, what is your problem? That's the first instinct that comes to your head, just to kind of defend yourself.
Take offense, yeah.
Yeah, and I have that problem a lot, especially, even just between us, and we're married.
Yeah.
You could be having a bad day and I take it personally, or I could be having a bad day and you take it personally.
Or you just say something and I hear it one way that you didn't mean
exactly.
it. It's very, anyway.
And you're, but yeah.
Anyway, but long story short, I feel like we need to pay attention more to the people around us.
I totally agree.
And
I totally agree.
Give that helping hand out. So, enough with the intro here and my pontificating. Let's get into it.
You ready?
Let's do it.
Okay.
You got some questions for me?
Yes. So
what you got?
I have some questions for Landon Ballard.
So we've been married for over 2 years now. What do you want to know?
So I know that you talked to me a lot about like what it was like growing up, but there are like certain things that I still wonder about. My first question to you is you're the middle child of 8, correct?
Yeah, I'm number 4.
Yes. So and your father most of the time of you growing up was in the military. He was
until
Navy
like
SEAL?
right before I was a teenager. No, he was engineer in the Navy.
Engineer in the Navy. Okay. My first question to you is, what was it like growing up in a military family?
A lot of pros and cons. My dad was a chief petty officer in the Navy. Mm-hmm. He served 21 years.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And because of the position he had a lot of responsibility, and so a lot of times he'd be on 6-month cruises, or if he was home, it would just be a lot of work. There it is, 2 in a row. 2 in a row. By the way, that's our cat Medusa. We didn't even introduce her last time.
Sorry.
Even though her little tail made an appearance.
She's overly affectionate and clingy. I'm so sorry. It's just because I'm over
So you'll
here.
be seeing plenty more of her eventually.
Yes. But back to your story. Let's get back to that.
No, like I said, there was a lot of pros and cons. So I have a lot of cool memories of like going to the base. I remember this specifically. The Navy base.
Before you answer, I want to ask: was the base cool? Like as a child,
yeah,
was it cool?
Yeah, and that's kind of I'll give you a little. It was like isolated from the outside world.
Oh,
and
really?
I didn't even realize that as a kid. I thought that we just lived in this area, but like the Navy bases are basically isolated from the rest of everybody, and a lot of times we lived in base housing, which is the housing they set up for Navy families or military families in the area.
So one more question. I'm so sorry. But since you were such a big family, even before like the 3 youngest came, did they give you appropriate like room sizes and room?
From what I can remember, we had enough. I mean, I shared a room until I was 18 years old.
Well, yeah, I mean, I understand that. I mean, no house is built unless you're like a millionaire for that many
for
kids.
6 bedrooms. Yeah. No, but we always had enough space to where, I mean, there were never boys and girls in the same room. It was always us boys in one room or 2 rooms and the girls in one room. And so it was always enough room. But anyway, they would kind of have their own housing unit. We had what was called the commissary. And we would go, and that's where we would buy our food and our groceries. It was like discounted groceries for military families. And so there were like some weird things about the base that were like, okay, this is just ours. And this is like, but one of the coolest parts about the base was going and visiting my dad at work, because he had an office in one of the main buildings on the base.
Did he have his own office?
I believe so.
Was it like singular?
To be 100% honest with you, I think that he may have just had like a cubicle in a group of offices, or I don't think he had his own office room though.
Okay.
Anyways, we would go to the base and visit him sometimes, and I remember one year we all saved up for Heelies.
Heelies.
And so like
for
3 or 4 of us at a time.
Those were very big in like the 2010s.
Yeah, if you don't know what Heelies are, you should.
You should.
But they're shoes with wheels in the heels.
Yes.
And so a few of us had them, and we would ride them around the base, around this building that my dad worked in at the base, and the sailors would always be like, oh, there's Ballard's kids, there's the Chief's kids. And there was this one guy that worked in the same building, and we would always go over to his desk, or maybe not even always. I just remember it that way because I was so young. But we, at least one time, we went over to his desk, and he gave us like these crackers with the cheese spray.
Oh my goodness.
The nasty cheese spray. Yeah, he gave us some of those. And so like, I felt like very proud to be a Navy kid, and they're called Navy brats.
Okay.
That's what they call them. They're Navy brats. Well, that's what Navy kids are
called.
Well,
also, there's a military like name for that, military brat. If like your like whole family is like in the military, you're and you go to the military as well, you're called a military brat.
There you go. So yeah, we were all Navy brats, and we were really proud of our dad and proud to be part of that family. Sure. But I mean, the cons is he would go on 6-month cruises. Constantly gone. And when he was home, it was like we could feel the weight of the job sometimes. And so there were a lot of like cool things that came with it. But I definitely missed a lot of time with my dad. They had a cool swimming pool on the base, though, with this diving board. I remember that. I was always terrified of the diving board, but I think I went off it, and the first time I tried to dive, I overshot it, and so I rolled foul and I like back flopped.
Oh, okay.
And I think I did it like 2 or 3 times in a row, and they told me I had to stop diving.
Oh, wow.
Because they were like, your kid doesn't know how to dive. What does he do? And they had, I remember, I'm sorry, I'm going off on a trail now, but I remember they had a big, probably 7 or 8 foot floating alligator that would just float around in the pool, and that was really fun. So there was a lot of like good memories attached with being in the Navy, and my dad was stationed in Virginia Beach for a while, and so living a bike ride distance away from the ocean was pretty cool. And I remember me and my sister Leah used to poke jellyfish on like the top on their jelly part.
Was that scary?
And then we like upgraded to daring each other to touch the tentacles. Who could touch it the longest?
I was gonna say,
yeah, it was always scary.
Were you scared that you were gonna get stung? Because
my mom told me my mom told me not to do it, and so like, I had to do it.
Well, jellyfish stings can kill you, Landon.
Well, I was actually stung by a Portuguese man-o-war when I was a kid, which is the most poisonous jellyfish in the world.
Gosh. Did you have someone pee on it?
I think so. I would have to assume so. I hope somebody peed on me.
I'm just asking because, like, the episode of Impractical Jokers.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back on topic. Okay. So, as a Navy brat, as we should say, I can imagine that you guys moved around.
Yeah.
Right. So my second question to you: was it difficult moving around a lot?
I mean, you've seen this firsthand. It made me really good at moving.
Oh my gosh.
No, really though, right?
Well, you can move a whole house by yourself. I'll tell you that much.
There you go.
You did it.
It was exciting as a child.
Yeah.
And then it just kept happening, and it was like, when am I just going to be in one spot? I didn't really have the opportunity to make friends with my neighbors for very long. Like, I always had friends in the neighborhood. Like, we would always find kids to hang out with or whatever, but
I'm so sorry for yawning.
She's bored of you guys.
I'm not.
She's tired.
No, I'm tired.
She actually told me before we started this podcast that she was done, that she didn't want to do the podcast anymore. Yawning.
You're sleeping on the couch.
Oh, laugh.
You're sleeping on the couch.
Oh, laugh. All right. Well, what did you ask me?
I asked you if it was difficult for you moving around a lot, and from what you just said, I just want to say, like, I feel exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
As a kid, I moved around a lot too. I mean, I didn't move from like states, but I moved around a lot in Rockford. We never stayed nowhere.
Like the hard thing with moving, I mean, because you did stay in Rock. The hard thing moving from city to city, state to state, is like we couldn't even get involved in any programs or schools or anything to have some sort of long-term relationship or friends. Like, I remember we did soccer one year. I think we did flag football one year. We played baseball one year, but like we were never able to like get into something where we were seeing people, right? Because we were just going to move in a couple years.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. At what age did you guys finally settle down in Rockford?
I believe that I was 13 or 12 or 13.
And then when you guys, finally settled in, you were starting to be able to do those activities and stuff that you wanted. You were into basketball.
Yeah, so at I want to say 2 years before my dad left the Navy, and I'm sure that I'm getting this at least somewhat wrong, and my mother's going to correct me. But we lived in South Beloit, which is just north of Rockford.
It's about 30, 45 minutes.
And so living there, I believe, is when we started going to homeschool co-ops, which is like full-on school for one day, and they send you home with homework for the whole week. So it's technically still homeschooling. And so that's where we started co-ops, and at the same time I started basketball.
Right, and you started making more friends, correct?
Yeah. Well, I think that had a lot to do with me going to co-op and getting into a sports program, because I really excelled at basketball. That was like, I remember the first practice, and I remember it so vividly because I realized when I heard this, I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I was playing, this was the first practice I'd ever been to, and I was dogging these kids, just running up and down and up and down. I'd run down to one end, steal the ball, run down the other end, make it. And I heard the coach say to my mom, "Hey, Wendy, is that boy on steroids?"
Oh, my gosh.
And I was like, oh, okay, I'm good at this. I'm really good at this. And so, like, I dug my heels into that sport for a long time, and I made a lot of friends around that.
So so correct me if I'm wrong, but so it was a couple of years that it after moving to Rockford and staying here for the last final move, I should say. Like not from house but from state to state. It took you a couple of years to finally feel comfortable where you were. Am I correct?
Yeah, and probably more than that.
Yeah.
We went from South Beloit to
Winnebago?
moved in, yeah, about Winnebago area, edge of Rockford.
Yeah. Close, like almost to like the highway you go to Freeport, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom's Aunt Judy and Uncle Chuck lived together, and right before my Uncle Chuck died, he asked my mom if she would take care of my Aunt Judy if anything ever happened to him, and then he passed away. And so we ended up moving in with her in the Rockford, Winnebago area, and we stayed there for maybe like 5 or 6 years.
I was gonna say, I remember you telling me like you guys lived there for a long time, and then you guys moved into this house, right?
Yeah, now we're out in Cherry Valley. My parents have been living here for I think maybe 5 or 6 years.
I know it was a couple of years before I met you that they moved in. Maybe 2.
Yeah.
And we've met
kind of
4 years
anyway,
ago.
Long story short, we've kind of been settled in the area now for the better part of my life.
Okay.
But up until then, it was like I have wanted to for a long time sit down and kind of make a timeline of my life, because it's still jumbled in my head sometimes. There was a lot of moving around and just different stuff going on, and it's hard to just feel comfortable sometimes.
Right. So, my next question, okay, so I'm gonna get a little deep, okay? So the next question is a bit deeper than the questions I have asked.
All right, hit me.
So question number 3, at any point, even with so much family around you, did you ever feel alone or isolated?
That's a good question. I feel like a lot of people would think with so many people in the family, you would never feel that way.
Right.
And I don't think that I felt alone in the typical sense that maybe an only child would, of feeling like they don't have anybody around them. But have you ever seen the movie Maze Runner? You know what? Forget it. I don't care if you've seen the movie or not.
Okay.
We're just going to build this analogy.
Okay.
I felt like a character in the Maze Runner.
Okay.
And in this movie, people just get dropped basically one by one into this game, into this battlefield, whatever you want to call it, this playing field.
Okay.
And so I felt isolated in the way of, I felt like I've just been dropped in the middle of this world, in the middle of this group of people that they've been here before. They know what they're doing. They're comfortable. But this is all brand new to me. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
And I just felt very isolated in the sense of, I felt like everybody else had things figured out and I'm still spinning in circles.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
And so,
I mean, even
obviously,
for me as a teenager, it was like that.
Yeah.
You know?
And like, obviously having so many siblings, I mean, my older sister, Leah, I would say that she's one of my best friends. My younger brother, Levi, I would say that growing up, we were going to go to college together. We were, we had made all these plans that our lives were going to run parallel. And so I obviously had people in the family that I would consider my best friends. But yeah, I often felt like I don't know what I'm doing. And I felt maybe a little afraid to ask for help.
Right.
And say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing.
And I mean,
because
you're not the only person that's ever felt like that, you know?
It just felt like at the time, everybody else had it figured out and I couldn't figure out. I felt there was something wrong with me because I was unsure of my purpose and my point in life.
Okay.
And so, I oftentimes would kind of just isolate myself and take myself out of the equation because of the way that I felt about myself, I guess.
Okay, so now as an adult and having gone through that, do you know now, like, because I can only imagine, like, in that moment of time, you felt like you were completely alone, like nobody could possibly be going through this as much as I am, you know, feeling all of this aloneness and not having their stuff figured out. Do you now, as an adult man, feel like, you know, I wasn't the only person who was going through that at that moment? You know, there were many people my age going through the exact same thing, but we're also putting on a safe face. You get what I'm saying?
Definitely, and that's a big thing we talk about.
Yeah.
Everybody has a unique story. Everybody's going through something that is circumstantially different.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, now I know I'm not the first kid to be in the middle of a big family and still feel alone.
Okay.
I'm not the first kid to still feel lost when they feel like everybody else has it figured out, you know? And
right.
so kind of just coming to terms with that's half the battle, right?
Exactly. I mean, even as adults, you know, people still feel that way. You know,
I was just going to say the reason that I kind of brought up the Maze Runner analogy is because I started feeling like that the other day. I was just like, what am I doing?
You know,
what am I doing? I'm working so hard, and I'm like, how does this person have it? How do they have it figured out? And I'm sitting here spinning my wheels, not going anywhere.
Well, I can say this just from even being a mom. I know that you're the dad, of course. I mean, we're both the parents, but you know, even being just a mom in this kind of, not even this generation, but just being a mom in general. You know, I see all these moms online who seem like they have it all figured out. But then there's like that small little portion of people that I can actually relate to. Like my sister Jasmine. You know, like we are constantly talking to each other about how do other people get through this? How do people get through this through the day? You know, of raising 2 children. Especially me, we have 2 under 2. Having a toddler while having a newborn is not easy. And
it's fun,
you have to literally be superwoman to get through the day without getting frustrated or impatient, you know. And I'm just always like, how do these other moms have it figured out? But honestly, nobody really has it figured out.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Sorry,
and
I know that just like went off on a little rant. I'm so sorry, but I'm just, you know, I was just trying to make that point there that even as adults, we're still trying to figure things out. We're still trying to figure out the patience, the needs in life.
And it's scary.
It is.
You know, I still see my parents talking to me about them learning new things, and it's scary because it's like that means that I'm going to do something probably today that I'm going to regret one day.
Oh,
you know?
Of course.
But you have to get over that and realize that I have to make the mistakes to learn.
Yesterday, I regretted not taking a shower.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey, you know? There you go.
But yeah, even like the smallest things, you know, you can regret.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't dwell on them.
Right.
You should not. I'm not gonna sit here for the next week and be like, oh, I really should have took that shower on Monday. Or what's today? Sorry, today? It's Monday. I should have took that shower on Sunday. You know, so I mean, so looking back, like on those memories of feeling that way, I'm pretty sure there are some things that you've regretted, right, during that time and place that you were in.
Definitely.
Do you think about them today?
The regrets?
Yeah. Do you let them overwhelm you, is what I should say?
No. I finally come to a point where it's in the past.
That's good.
And I'm able to, and you know this because I've seen it in you. Mm-hmm. We can, now that we're through it and that we're in the stage where we're able to take that experience and help other people with the same stuff. Now that we can do that, it doesn't even feel relevant.
Exactly.
It feels relevant. It feels relevant in the sense that I need to remember that because it made me the person that I am. Mm-hmm. And it drives me to not make those same mistakes again.
Right.
But now I get to take those and turn it into something positive. Now I can take all of the years of drug use that I have, all of the years of killing myself mentally, and maybe, hopefully, the prayer is take that and hopefully reach even just one person to help them see things differently or hear things differently or open their mind to a different way of living life. Because if you're not taking care of your mental health, life tends to suck.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not taking,
I can attest to that.
Mental, physical, emotional, all of them. If you aren't taking care of yourself, if you're not doing the things you need to do to stay mentally, physically, emotionally healthy, you're not going to last very long that way.
I totally agree with that statement, and I love that statement. I absolutely love it. So let's get back to topic a little bit about the questions I want to ask you. So
yeah, I was gonna say we gotta wrap her up here soon.
I know. So my second to last question is, so growing up in that military family and hardly seeing your dad, did you ever want like a closer relationship with him? Did you ever feel like you didn't have enough of a relationship?
First of all, I just want to say that where my dad was at when he was in the Navy is a different person than he is now. Okay. So I want to lead with that. Yes, I missed having a relationship with my dad as a child a lot.
Okay.
Being in a situation where the only parent at home for sometimes 6 months at a time is your mom, it was difficult. And God bless my mom; she did an amazing job. And
I can imagine.
I'm a mama's boy.
Yes. Yes.
Shout out to my mom. I love you. But I did crave that relationship with my dad a lot. I mean, when he would be home, when he would offer to let us ride somewhere with him, when he would be in the garage working on his truck, we were right there. Okay. All of us. Okay. Like all of us, everybody wanted to be, because he just didn't have enough to give to all of us.
Okay.
And I know that he was dealing with his own stuff at the time too. But yeah, I definitely wish in one sense that I had that relationship. Now our relationship is now our relationship is amazing. I mean, he's helped me through everything that I went through, getting sober, and really pushed me to be a better person and a better man. And to be honest with you, I think that the reason that I believe that I'm such a good dad is because I was let down in some ways. And I don't mean that in a mean or rude sense. And I think that he would agree with me that he wasn't there as much as he would have liked to be.
Okay.
And that definitely deeply affected everybody.
I was going to say, was it hard on all of you?
Yeah, it definitely was.
I mean, I can only imagine on how hard it was for your mom.
For my mom, it was insane. And for my dad, it was insanely hard. I don't think that he wanted to be away that much.
Right.
And on top of that, he was trying to figure out how to raise 5 children and a wife.
Right. Support them back home while he was gone.
Yeah, and so I don't hold anything against him. I should say it that way. I long for that relationship. I wish I had that relationship, but I don't hold anything against him, because in that moment, in that space and time, he was doing exactly what he felt he needed to do to take care of his family.
Exactly.
Regardless of on the other side, maybe he would have done it differently.
Okay.
We talk about being on the other side of things. He might view it differently and see it differently. I know he would tell you he didn't like being gone that much. But I know that in that moment,
parent that is in their child's lives would say that same thing. Like, they don't, they can't be away from their children that long.
But it was just in that moment, he was doing what he felt like he had to take care of us. And that's why I'm gonna expose our relationship a little bit here. From the minute that we moved in together and started dating, I told Amaria that she could stop working, and I wanted to be the provider. I wanted to do everything, because that's what I saw. The example that I had of a man growing up was the provider, the one who takes care of everything. And I never wanted you to have to worry about anything.
I know.
And I know that I haven't really ever told you all that, but that's a lot of the reason that early on I didn't let her do much. I really didn't. She wanted a job, and I said, no, you can just chill out at home.
I mean,
just do whatever you want to.
Even now, after we're done having babies, I have a job. And he's like, why don't you just quit? But I'm like, no, I mean, it's nice to have a little bit of extra money, to definitely spoil the kids more than we do now. But I'm saying, like, just have that extra little bit. And it also gives me like a little bit of sanity, I should say, because being at home with kids all day and having nobody to talk to is not fun. Having my first real conversation of the day at 5:30 when you get home is not okay. Because all I hear B say all day is neck. Okay, mama, neck.
Oma,
sissy, boo boo. That's, I can't talk to her about, like, So no, I mean, and I totally get that.
But no, all in all, there was an insanely larger amount of things that I learned that were positive from my dad, and my work ethic and all of the things that I needed to learn to be a man. My dad really taught me to be a man, regardless of whether he was there as much as he would have liked to or not. And on that note, as I can hear the baby squirming in the other room, you think we should wrap it up?
I was going to ask you about skateboarding.
We'll hit that in a later episode. We'll talk about hobbies or something some other time.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I mean, duty calls,
You know what
right?
I'll do, though? You know what I'll do?
What?
I'll drop a little skate video at the end of this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's show off your moves, man.
I'll just a short one, like two or three tricks.
Let's show off those moves.
All
so
right.
stay tuned for after the show. Landon is going to show you some of his moves on the skateboard.
Because that's how you skate.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you. I was trying to be a little bit enthusiastic there, and you just kind of ruined it for me.
Hey, I appreciate it. And I appreciate you. And I appreciate everything you're doing for this podcast. I want to give a big shout out to my pops.
I love you, Michael.
I love you. And
we love you, Mike.
Shout out to my mom for holding things together when I was a kid so that I could make it this far. Without you two, I wouldn't even be here. And that's literal. He wouldn't be the
person that he is today, which is a good husband and great father, an amazing person.
Well, thank you.
That he is.
So big shout out to my parents. Again, want to do a shout out to Brian Bartos, Ray Moffitt, Jeff Brown, Judy Randall, Aaron West. But a huge thanks to all of you for supporting us and just helping us find that passion and direct that passion in the right place. So thank you for listening. Go follow us on Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok at HumanonPod. You know how to spell it?
Yes.
Say it.
HumanonPod.
HumanonPod. That's where you're going. So thank you for listening to episode 2 of Humans Anonymous. And I'll take us out?
Yep.
What do you say?
I got it.
Hell yeah. That was good.